And I'm just looking at how much to share because it's sort of highly esoteric information, which in one sense is fun, and in another sense, we want to be careful to not get caught up in curiosity about the cosmos at the expense of direct experience, right? Because we that stuff is fun and fascinating, and don't get me wrong, I love it as much, probably more than the next guy, and everything has to be in servitude to one's direct experience of love and that which takes them out of the mind. Sometimes the esoteric information does help us go beyond the mind because it's like we speak, which is what the speaking from spirit was about, which is where we speak from an experience which then hopefully irradiates the experience. And so that's the difference between speaking from spirit and about spirit. So it's a sort of a preamble to sharing a little bit of esoteric information in case it is in service to you having more an experience of what I would be talking about. We've been looking at, there's a being that we're calling it the angel of continuity, and angel's kind of just in this sense we're using it as a catch-all phrase. One could call it the being of continuity, and it is really about, it's a being that you can connect into that can take you well beyond time and space. And it's interesting to try to even put it into words, so don't try too much to understand the words. That presence is here so you can experience that. This being holds, so you know about the silent ones. The silent ones hold creation in abeyance. They're the bridge between the allness, the undifferentiated consciousness, and individuation, right? That which is all, incepted individuation to know its creation. And so this being of continuity, let's call it, holds all the memory of God for God, or as God. So the silent ones, Michael beautifully described it one day, it's like God issued forth an intention, and the silent ones keep chanting that intention as a way to hold creation. This is so beyond words. In isness for God, if you have a better word.
No, that says it.
Okay. So the silent ones, it's like God issued forth an intention, and the silent ones, let's say the intention might be to know peace amidst seeming conflict. And then they might keep chanting peace amidst seeming conflict, peace amidst seeming conflict. I'm grossly oversimplifying this, but it's like they keep chanting the creation in. Or it might be the creation of humans. And we're very much a latter-day creation. We are kind of an experiment, if you will. Very, 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 very young in comparison to the angelic, in comparison to what came before that, all held in this same issuance, in God's memory of this issuance. The functionality of this, you can call it an angel of continuity, being of continuity, is that it can take you well beyond this lifetime, well beyond time and space, because it holds for God, as God, the intentionality of God into this creation. So ironically, if you can know the intentionality of this creation while you know the source that held the intentionality, then the mind cannot hold that, so then it breaks you free into the undifferentiated, into source itself. Yeah? So kind of blows the system. Blows the system, yes, that's a good way to put it. It kind of blows the system. It blows the construct. See, these forms, thoughts, even this world, is simply illusion and held here because we've all agreed to say it so. In essence, we are silent ones, right? Because we go, okay, we have these bodies. We are agreeing to pretend that we're separate. We are agreeing to pretend karma. We are agreeing to pretend time and space. So we keep, in essence, chanting that and agreeing And in essence, we're holding creation in abeyance. So we are sort of junior silent ones. So if we can connect to this being, it can help take us out of that agreement, out of that construct, out of that illusion, into Source itself. So you may at those times start to feel like your mind is cracking, like you're being stretched out, right? You might feel like, oh my God, somebody's stretching my skin, my emotions, my beingness. I feel like I'm going to go nuts. That's a good sign. Contrary to popular belief, it means you are on track. Okay, so if you start to feel that, in my experience, of course, first, calm the light, but I wouldn't do a whole Father, Mother of God, may the light of the Christ, because that's going to take you back into your mind. It's simply hold the intention of light. Okay, so it's light and then it's surrender. And just keep surrendering and expanding, and it's like, okay, I'm going to drop the body, I'm going to die, fine, drop the body, die. I'm going to go nuts, fine, go nuts. As long as you're aware of the presence of love. That is always the key. If you're aware that loving is present, you're in good territory. If you have doubts and loving is present, go beyond the doubts. If you have doubts and something seems off, trust that, challenge it, and then go, again, surrender into loving. Okay, loving is always the acid test of whether it's positive or negative. If you sense negativity present, my first key with that is always first relax. You want to piss Lucifer off, relax. You want Lucifer or Satan or whatever to go away, love them. Love, be loving in the midst of them. You don't have to love them. You need to be loving in the midst of them. Make sense? And then you will love them because you'll be in love, which doesn't condition or differentiate.